Hello, fellow snobs, past and present. Today we're going to talk about Raised by Wolves, an HBO Max show, and we're going to discuss whether it is worth watching. First off, let me give you a quick summary of the show. The show revolves around two androids who land on a desolate planet with the task of restarting humanity after the Earth has been destroyed. So that's the short version. There's a lot more going on in the show. The androids, after the androids land, we find that they are part of a group calling themselves atheists, and they are fleeing a religious war against a religious group. And the reason the Earth is all but destroyed, they're not sure if it's destroyed or not. There's been a religious war going on for years. So the androids, who have some capacity to at least fake emotion, are male and female, mother and father. They raise these children for 12 years. During that 12-year period, all but one of the 6 children die. Four of those from mysterious circumstances, from some mysterious sickness. After 12 years, a religious group, an ark, showing up with a bunch of the people escaping from Earth from the religious group show up. So that throws a big kink into everything as well. So in addition to that, we find out that Mother is not just some android, but she's actually an android built by the religious group called a necromancer, and her job was she's basically a weapon of mass destruction that's been reprogrammed, kind of like taking an atom bomb and reprogramming it to look after children. So she starts to rediscover her other abilities to help protect her children when the religious group shows up. So I don't want to tell you much more to spoil it, but suffice to say, there is a lot going on in the show, and I may do a video on what's going on within the show and looking at the various questions that it's raising. The show is, at this point, we've seen 9 out of 10 episodes in the first season, and there is going to be a second season. It's been renewed. So, it's not one of these flash in the pan where you watch and there's a cliffhanging ending and you don't know what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that there'll be some sort of cliffhanger to this last episode for the season. There's no way they've put so many threads down. There's no way they can answer them all. The show could go for a lot longer. So is the show worth watching? I highly recommend it. It is, I would say, it's one of the best science fiction shows to come out in. I can't think of something better in recent time. So I would recommend anyone who's interested in science fiction to watch this show, especially for the questions it raises about humanity, just the acting, and for all sorts of reasons. So worth watching, and let's go into some of those reasons why it is worth watching. Let's talk about the director, Ridley Scott, a great director. He directs the first 2 episodes, and I can feel I think that those 2 episodes set the tone, and you can feel that coming throughout the rest of the episodes. He's also executive producer on the show, so hopefully that helps a bit to keep that even keel of the feel of the show. The writer, the creator and main writer is Aaron Grzikowski. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. So I've never heard of him or seen anything he's done, anything else that he's done. But in 2007, he did a movie called Prisoners, which received some awards. The plot focuses on the abduction of two young girls in Pennsylvania and the search for the abductor by police. After the police arrest a suspect and release him, the father of one of the daughters goes to take matters in his own hands. So I haven't seen it, but that's apparently did well. So the show is not based on any other writing. It's not based on a book or anything like that. So I usually I prefer shows that are based on some other book. You tend to get a writer who writes a really good book, and then you adapt that. So the writing is usually very strong. The writing in this show, I feel, is very strong. There's lots of stuff in there. So it's kind of surprising to me, since this, Aaron is not well known. At least, he's not like, some other writer that you might be aware of in movies who've written stuff. So it's surprising that there's so much depth and a lot of stuff going on in the show. So that's good. I mean, it's good in a way too, because you don't know what's going to happen, like other shows if you've read the book already. So hands on to the very strong writing in the show so far. The cinematography, let's talk about that. So again, Ridley Scott is director, and you can feel a strong hand on it. Everything in the world is gray. It's a bit desolate. You have that sense of are the humans, if the humans, you don't know if they're going to survive or not, just you get that feeling from the cinematography. And, if they do survive, if they're able to survive this, it's going to be very difficult. So, good on Ridley Scott for that. Very strong aspect. Even some aspects of the first shot of the first scene is a spaceship landing on the planet. And even from that, the way the camera tracks, it has a very movie-like feel to it. It's not some, cheap, quick done television show. So they are spending the time and effort to go through getting great shots of it. So to me, that is another bonus for the show. Let's talk a little bit about the casting and acting. I think both are excellent. The performance by Abu, if I get this name right, Abu Bakr Salim, who's father, and Amanda Collin as mother. They're both androids. They have this stilted android-like performance, yet at certain times they have to show, especially mother is required to show, there are a few times where she seems to go, the android is supposed to be very even keel, but she gets angry at a few times. So she has to flip a switch from that android to that anger. They both start showing some emotion, more so mother than father, because she's a little bit more sophisticated android. So though he is, programmed for emotion, he shows some emotion like things towards the kid. It's got to be pulled back a little, and I think both are very excellent in their performances. I wouldn't be surprised if they were nominated for awards for the performance, either of them. I think that Salim probably has the harder job because he can only go so far, but Colin has a wider range of what she has to do. So I'm not, it's hard for me to tell who's the best. Other actors in the show are also very good. But those two to me stand out. So let's talk about some of the themes that are mentioned that go through in the show. So there's the first. There's of course humanity is ending, that apocalyptic type theme, but the show very much focuses on the idea of an android, a being who's technically incapable of emotion and only programmed to simulate emotion, trying to raise children, human children, who need emotional support. So there's that, and there's the conflict between sort of the emotion and the logical side there. Also, that theme is also reflected in the religious aspect. So the androids are raising a group of non-religious children, atheists, but yet after when the children get older, specifically Campion, when he gets older, age 12, and all of his other siblings have died, you can see he has a bit of a hunger for some sort of belief. Why did this happen? Is there some sort of other being that would, something that would give this meaning as to what happens? And of course, the androids can't provide that, because they're not religious. They don't, and they're programmed by the atheist sect. So that kind of comes into conflict, especially when Campion and them finally meet up with with some of the religious children, and there's that back and forth between their strong religious beliefs versus he's supposed to not be religious, but yet you can tell that he's feeling something that's missing. So there's a good theme going through there. What else do I want to mention about themes? I don't want to mention too much. I'm going to mention some other things that just strike me about the show that really give it some meaning. So first, I mentioned this earlier, there's the desolation of the sets, the world, the otherworldness of it, with giant holes in certain places where some extinct serpent-like creature supposedly has made and then died out. There's the strange aliens who seem to be animal-like, but are they intelligent? We don't know. There's the factors like the name of the show, Raised by Wolves, is can directly be attributed to Mother, who is, we find out partway through the a couple of episodes in, that Mother is actually Father is a regular service android, they call him, but Mother is a reprogrammed necromancer, and a necromancer is actually a weapon of mass destruction made by the religious group, so there's a bit of Raised by a Wolf. This android is designed to kill atheist people, children, whatever, and yet she's taking care of these atheist children now. There's some of the great scenes that I like about the visual imagery of what goes on. So whenever Mother turns into her necromancer form to kill and defend her children, she kind of turns a darkish gold bronze type of color. She puts her arms out, and she basically becomes a flying cross and flies around, just destroying anything in her path with ease, very much like an angel of death flying through the sky. You can just watching the imagery, you can just feel the horror and the dread that humans must have felt when they saw this on Earth, to see this thing flying towards them, and just like, oh no. Going back to that, there are, as I said, Raised by Wolves, the title again refers to a couple times. There are a couple times where Mother, she seems to break out of her programming. She acts very wolf-like, like a mother wolf protecting her cubs. She howls like a wolf, sniffs at things as if she's trying to find them, and is fiercely protective of her children. So that's where they get the very apt title, and they fit that into the actions of her very well. So there's a ton of other things going on. I've thrown in a few spoilers there. I don't want to go into too many. It's quite interesting. I may do a video talking more about the mysteries and the questions that have been raised in the show, because there are quite a few, and some of them are quite interesting, and you may not have noticed them all by just simply watching it. So we'll leave that for another time. But to summarize, Raised by Wolves, I feel, is an excellent science fiction show. Very much worth watching. You need to start watching. First season is almost complete at this point. There's one more episode to go to make a total of 10. There will be a second season, and it's definitely worth watching to find out more of the fate of humanity and the fate of these characters. Until next time, thanks for watching.